Fort Hays Singers will be singing a few numbers, some that they'll be doing the next week at the Cathedral concert, but some that are just light, fun, Deck the Halls in 7/8. And some carols around the tables that people could join in singing. The 12 Days of Christmas, that's always fun. People get a kick out of singing along with that.
It's the most wonderful time of the year with Christmas concerts. I'm Jeff Leiker, Fort Hays State University Director of Choral Activities. Terry Crull stops by to talk about their upcoming holiday dessert and cathedral concerts on this episode of the Post Podcast.
The holiday dessert show is Friday night at 6, so have your supper at 5 and then come for dessert. And then Sunday at 1, so have lunch after church, stop and get some JD's chicken, and then come for dessert at the Rose Garden Inn on East Highway 40. Kim Barnes is whipping up a bunch of great desserts, and if you've had her desserts, you know they'll be yummy.
Yeah.
So the Fort Hays Singers are doing the singing. It's a fundraiser for the Smoky Hill Chorale, and they're helping with some serving and stuff because the Smoky Hill Chorale is going to Austria in June to go and sing at the Salzburg Choral Festival, singing in the very cathedral, the Salzburg Dom, they call it, where Mozart was baptized. Now, we did this 6 or 7 years ago, 2018. The Fort Hays Singers went, and we sang with, 150 singers or whatever, and Eve Ely was the director there. He's formerly from UMKC, now retired. And then their orchestra and their conductor do a Mozart mass. This year, Pam and I are the musicians. I'm the conductor. Pam is the accompanist. So we're very honored to do that. I had to pick 8 numbers, and our kids will be preparing those 8 numbers, and 150 to 200 singers in a choir will rehearse 3 times or something like that and then perform.
Right.
So I hope they know their music when they get there.
Yeah.
And so it's a blast. We're spending 5 or 6 days there, and we see all the sites in Salzburg that were, famous for the sound of music. They kind of dislike the sound of music there in Austria, as I recall. It's kind of like, all right, but it brings in 1 million people a day.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like how the town in down in Georgia hates The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, it's great for tourism, but
one thing I remember is that they're most upset about the Hollywoodized walk over the mountains and get into Switzerland.
Yeah, they went the wrong way.
Yeah, when you cross the Alps from Austria, you're in Germany. You're going right into the Nazi homeland. Anyway, that kind of stuff. Yeah. But every site this is where whatever, and we took pictures on the gazebo where she danced around singing You Are 16, I'm 17. Yeah. So it's a fun trip. The Smoky Hill Chorale is going this year, but there are Fort Hays kids that want to go too. So this is a fundraiser to help those kids afford it, because the adults, they got cash coming out of there. No, it's an expensive trip,
right? Over
$4,000.
I can't imagine
to go there. So the college kids struggle to do that. So this is a fundraiser to help them. 6:00 on Friday, $20 a ticket. You can come on Friday or Sunday. I think the HaysPost.com has it and has my office number. I haven't received 2 or 3 calls for getting tickets.
628-4258.
That's it.
That's the one.
That's it. That's my office number, and I'll jot it down and sign your name down and mark you as owes $40 or whatever, $20 a ticket. There is no cut price for old or young because it's a fundraiser. So we just said $20. $20.
Yeah. And I guess if it's warm this weekend, we can call it a desert show. Then.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
As dry as it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But the Fort Hays Singers will be singing a few numbers, some that they'll be doing the next week at the Cathedral concert, but some that are just light, fun, Deck the Halls in 7/8. And some carols around the tables that people can join in singing. The 12 Days of Christmas, that's always fun. People get a kick out of singing along with that.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what's so cool about, especially in particular, carols. Is just the rich history behind them as well too, and we're not talking about contemporary ones. We're talking about the vintage old ones.
Up on a housetop, reindeer paws, out jumps good Santa Claus, and of course the sacred carols, the Christmas songs, like Jingle Bells and Rudolph and Deck the Halls.
Yeah, exactly.
But also the carols that are sacred, like A Little Town of Bethlehem and Silent Night, Way in the Manger.
Yeah. When I was going to school in Topeka, my roommate was a music major as well too, and he brought home this book, and it had the four parts of the carols printed on one page, and they were all alternating around the page, so you could all like sit in a circle and read your music and everything.
Good idea.
And apparently it was vintage too, like from like Victorian era or something along those lines, kind of thing. So yeah,
a lot of stuff. Well, I guess LPs are coming back.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, they never
I
left.
said the other day, I played a cassette of one of the songs that the singers are working on for the Cathedral concert, which is on the 10th at 3:30 Sunday. Plenty of time to come to the Cathedral concert and then get back for the Frost Fest parade.
Yeah.
But I had a cassette. They didn't know what the heck it was. And I said, well, these came out for CDs. And one of them said, what's a CD? They don't even know what CDs are. They just do it all on their computer. I said, I miss the days when we had like two big speakers, as tall as your TV set, 65 watts per channel that would thump the whole house and play scary music at Halloween and beautiful music at Christmas. But computer sound is pretty good now. But we'll be live.
Yeah.
So we'll be singing Carol the Bells and Deck the Halls and We Wish You a Merry Christmas and a few other numbers. What Child Is This? And Bring a Torch, Jeanette Isabella and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And speaking of, you mentioned the Cathedral concert as well, too. Let's hash that out here real quick.
That's always the highlight of the year.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've got the Smoky Hill Chorale, the concert choir, 60 strong, and the Fort Hays Singers, 20 voices, plus the Hays High Chamber Singers. They're always a permanent guest choir, I guess you'd say. Alex Underwood and his kids come. And this year, our guest choir from out of town is the Hillsborough High School Women's Ensemble. Lynn Just is a good friend, and she and her group were at the Renaissance Festival in Bonner Springs that we sang at last September. Mm-hmm. And so they were there and sang great. And I said, you should come and be a guest choir. And usually I try to get like Fort Hays alums who are directors. We had Kelly Nedler up here from Dodge. And Alexandra Romy from TMP. Mm-hmm. Next year, I think Hayden Silman, who's brand new out at Ellsworth, might be, if his group is ready. But Lynn's a good friend, and her kids did a great job, and they were in Renaissance costumes, too. Mm-hmm. So I said, come and be our guest choir. So and then we've had lots of faculty and groups from the instrumental side. And so the Cathedral concert is really the choirs and St. Fidelis' gift to the community. But we always have interludes, like French horn choir will be playing carols as people come in. Mm-hmm. Greg Jones is a former singer and a French horn player. He wrote or arranged a piece for brass quartet. Mm-hmm. Brad and Renetta Dawson are always a part of it. Ivea Allen, our soprano, who's retiring this year, so she's singing a number with the concert choir and a number with the Fort Hays Singers and a number herself with Ben Klein on cello and Hillary Shepard on flute and Pam McGowan on accompaniment. So they have special numbers. And to keep the thing moving, I usually use those instrumental interludes as a time where one choir gets off and the other gets on. So the music just goes nonstop.
Yeah.
We don't usually have applause until the end of, like, a whole choir is done, not after every number. So that cuts the time down. So we get a lot of music in. Try to keep it around an hour or 15, an hour and a half at the most. I don't like those 3-hour marathons.
Right.
That some people have at their Christmas concert. It's just too long to sit. But we also have carols where the audience gets to stand up and stretch while they sing. It came upon a midnight clear this year in the little town of Bethlehem. Tom Mayer plays the organ and accompanies those, and he does a great job and plays a postlude. So the Cathedral concert is Sunday afternoon, December 10 at 3:30, and it's usually a packed house. They're at beautiful St. Fidelis, the Basilica. Now it's a basilica because at 100 years, I guess the Pope granted them a basilica name,
nomenclature.
Yeah, thank you. It used to be just a cathedral, and Kay Worth, who is our retired oboe teacher, often plays as well. And she said, well, you got to call it the Basilica concert now. I said, well, when they change the bronze sign out on I-70 and it says Basilica of the Plains, then I'll start calling it the Basilica concert.
Yeah.
But Williams Jennings Bryant was a presidential candidate on a whistle-stop tour and saw those twin towers from, well, you could see them from 10 miles away when you come over, and he called it the Cathedral of the Plains, and the name stuck, I guess.
Yeah.
It works. The Basilica of the Plains doesn't have the same ring as Cathedral of the Plains. One thing I did do for Kay, though, I stopped calling it the Cat at St. Fido. She didn't like that. She grew up in that church. The Cat concert at St. Fido. Cat and dog there. But so now it's this CCC, the Cathedral Christmas Concert.
Yep.
At Basilica of St. Fidelis. A great event.
Yeah. And a great venue too. Like,
you can't. Yeah. You can't beat it. I tell everybody that I've sung in cathedrals in Europe, and the sound is absolutely just as marvelous as is in some of them. In fact, sometimes better because it's like 4.5 second reverb.
Yep.
And in some of those big cathedrals, it's like 10, 12 seconds. You can't do any music that has any kind of beat or movement to it.
Yeah. And it's one of those performances because as someone who has performed there, like you're locked onto your conductor. Like there's no listening for.
Yeah, well, I like to do a lot all around numbers, and I said, the farther away you are from me, the more you got to watch this beat. Now you can't listen to what you hear because it's coming back. Back at you. And of course, those pieces are usually the slow, quiet pieces, so that they could stay together. But that's always fun to do all around numbers and then process while we sing another number. And anywhere you sit is great. I know people come hours early. It's a little bit of a pain actually because a big cathedral like that, but they have 2 tiny little bathrooms. So there's usually a mile-long line back there. I tell the performers, come early and go to the bathroom, before the crowd gets in there because you won't have a chance.
It'll be continuous
afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of, before we got on air, you were talking about like as far as seating goes, like fill in. Don't leave some, don't leave some gaps in the.
Some of my kids will be assigned to be ushers, and they'll have to be bold enough to say, "Scoot over. We got 20 people back there standing."
Yeah,
and we bring people up to the overflow spot, and people can go up to the balcony. But last year it was packed.
Get comfy.
It was SRO last year, and that's over 1,000 people. So it's just a great place to give a Christmas concert. It's my favorite event of the year.
Yeah.
Other than the last day of school.
It's always a pleasure to look forward to that every single year. It's a wonderful, wonderful tradition. Let's go over the dates again here real quick, just for our listeners. So this weekend, the dessert concert, I have the only one that I'm seeing right now is Sunday, December 3rd, 1 p.m. And then
Friday at 6 p.m., Friday the 1st at 6 p.m.
Friday at 6 p.m.
And then you can come to the door.
There it is.
We like to have tickets ahead of time so we know how many desserts to have, but Kim will have a plenty on hand.
Yep.
And I don't know, I think it seats 150. We were going to have a Saturday show too, but it's a crowded weekend. The Symphony Orchestra has their holiday pops Saturday night in Beach Schmidt, so we didn't want to conflict with that.
Yeah.
So Friday at 6 and Sunday at 1, dessert times.
Yep.
Coffee, cheesecake, I suppose.
Rose Garden Banquet Hall.
Rose Garden Banquet Hall on East 40.
Yep.
Kim will have some great stuff for us.
Yeah, and then the cathedral concert the following weekend on Sunday
at 3:30, and that's free. Although Pam did convince me, bless her heart, to put a thing on there. If you wish to donate to the Austria trip to help the kids that are going, donations will gladly be accepted. So I don't know how we're going to do that.
I mean, you're in a church. You could probably just pass the collection plate around.
I don't want to do that.
Nobody will be none the wiser.
People want to support it. They can find me or one of the kids that are going. But yeah, $20 a ticket for the dessert show Friday and Sunday. Try to get them ahead of a time if you can. Call 628-4258. That's my office number. And people have called the school music office too.
Yeah,
they'll get the message to me. So
sure.
So that's a fundraiser for the kids that are going with the Smoky Hill Chorale to Austria this summer in June, and then the cathedral concert is St. Fidelis and our gift to the community. So that's free. If you want to give a donation, we'll gladly take it, and it'll go towards the kids who are going on the trip. So,
all right,
great time of year to put on music. We're busy, but that's fun busy.